This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. Not everyone is careful with your personal information, which might explain why there's a victim of identity theft every 5 seconds in the U.S. Fortunately, there's LifeLock. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity. If your identity is stolen, a U.S.-based restoration specialist will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year by visiting LifeLock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
Canva presents your work horoscope for this week. Deadlines are in retrograde, which we all know can bring some intense energy. Our advice: fend off this forecast with Canva. Like Canva whiteboards to counter creative blocks, and Canva docs for clarity and communications. If you have any sales deals coming through, results will be in your favor with Canva presentations, manifesting many wins for you. It's a great week to love your work at canva.com.
We off? 30 seconds of carefree bliss.
Oof, like wind in your hair carefree.
Oh, like using Clorox Disinfecting All-Purpose Cleaner in the home carefree.
Yes.
Like Doc slobbing on the coffee table and cleaning it with Clorox Carefree?
He's on a roll now.
Spit toothpaste on the faucet?
You got it. You got it.
Peanut butter on the light switch.
Oh, spritz, spritz.
Spritz, spritz. Clorox, man. Clean feels good.
Okay, we're back.
Use as directed.
EVO. This series contains adult language and depictions of graphic violence. Listener discretion is advised. And we're live. 3, 2, 1. Hello, welcome back to The Devil Within, Satan's Shadow, bonus of the bonus. My name's Branden, again joined by the great Margot Carmichael. Margot, thank you again for showing up. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having me. How are you?
I'm doing great. We have arrived at the end.
At the end.
We have arrived. So after 9 episodes, and this will be the third bonus, we finally see the end of Ramirez and kind of the beginning for Dante. Pretty interesting.
Pretty interesting. I have a question right off the top.
Yeah.
So the Inferno,
Mm-hmm.
Purgatorio,
Yeah.
Paradiso, are those 3 different books? Are those 3 different sections in a book?
They're called canticles. They're 3 like mini books within the larger book called The Divine Comedy.
Right. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And are they all approximately the same length, or are they very, very different lengths? They are.
Yeah, they're all right around the same length. Yep.
Okay, 'cause I was going to say, I feel like, obviously, I understand the purpose with the Inferno having that spread out through the 9 episodes.
Yes.
Yeah, obviously, but you could probably spend 9 episodes on paired. I just
could find 9,000 episomes on Paradiso.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure. Okay. Yeah. That's how I was like, I feel like you could spend a lot more time on this.
Yeah.
topic.
It's just kind of the listeners had spoken. They were ready to move on back to some weekly content. So good. I hear you. I hear y'all. Starting.
That's very nice of you, because I feel like you could have lived in this for a lot longer.
Oh, I wanted to.
Very happily.
Yeah. I really wanted to. Yeah. But it's all good. I scratched that itch. I got the Ramirez out of my system. I kind of reconnected with Dante Alighieri, which is always a good thing. And inspired and got through to some people just reading the comments like, wow, I'm going to go read Dante again, or I'm going to go read it for the first time, or I'm going to go figure it out. So that feels fucking great. And I did what I needed to do with this. So.
When you, I'm sure I've asked you this already, but I can't remember. When you were deciding to do this season, did you know right from the beginning that you wanted to incorporate Dante some way into this, or did that come like through researching Ramirez?
The second one, yeah. I didn't know what the framing device was going to be. I really had no idea. But just talking to people who had lived through the Ramirez nightmare, all of them said some version of, it's like LA was descending into hell. And I heard that enough times. I heard that 10 or 12 times in the months I was researching this. And then it really hit me, because I like incorporating some kind of tangential or unrelated at least, specifically unrelated, but thematically, kind of germane. Like, and when I was doing the third season, Season in Hell, about David Berkowitz, right? It was all Billy Joel songs were the title, right. Because he's the quintessential New Yorker, and a lot of the lyrics could be interpreted that he was singing about what was going on during the time with Berkowitz. When I did The Demons of Yorkshire, English, right? There was a lot of Shakespeare woven throughout that one. So it's just, stuff that satisfies my nerd brain, and also kind of tempers a little bit of the awfulness of all the murders and stuff. That just makes it a little easier to research and to write, knowing that I can have this vacation from that by focusing on some other stuff. So, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Well, this episode started with, basically, I felt like you were describing the Wild West. Yes.
Well,
kind of.
Yeah.
That's what it reminded me of.
I had known about San Quentin State Penitentiary for most of my adult life. That's the death row. That's what and I'm sitting there and I'm going, man, you know what? I know nothing about that place. I know nothing about it. The history of the building, when it was built, why it was built, why there, none of that. Okay. And I love that. I love when I know absolutely nothing about something. Okay.
It was very interesting.
And that first line, it was the result, like so many things, of the California gold rush. A bunch of fucking maniacs came up here to get rich. And when they couldn't, they'd get drunk in San Francisco and break the law. And they're like, we need somewhere to, there was a wall, and behind the wall were men who couldn't be trusted. Like, that's why that's why we build prisons, Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah.
It was interesting to hear all of this. And so this is just your writing. California was a raw wound on the edge of the continent. Wow. Yes. A fortress to contain the ambitions of men who had torn loose from the moorings of civilization.
Yes, because right before that, we were talking about how they used to be housed on prison ships in the bay.
Yeah, that was cool to hear. That's weird.
That were moored.
Jail cells.
They were moored in the bay. So I kind of ran with that nautical kind of theme, maybe a little too far. But
well, I mean, you described it. It was like this hell, and then also this amazing Greek myth. It was I was equal parts whoa, this place sounds amazing and awful at the same time.
Awful. Hell on earth.
Yeah, but it was kind of poetic. And then the idea of prisoners building their own prison.
Yes. How great. The wages of sin, right there. There's this great song by this guy from Jersey named John Gorka. And the opening line is just great. He said, they built a prison by the freeway just to rub it in. Okay. And the next line, he goes, it's a gentle reminder of the wages of sin, right? These guys are right there, and they look out the window and they just see free people zipping by on the freeway, going wherever they want. And so for this to be built on, this finger of land jutting out into the ocean, and the land was chosen because it was remote. Is
that the only reason? Was that it was just this looks like a hard place to get away from, and that was it. That was the
water on three sides, and then a huge gate on the peninsula, so you can't fucking go anywhere. Yeah, the only place better was Alcatraz, which you could see from San Quentin. Yeah.
I do.
So learning about San Quentin was cool. It got a little boring for me, during because a big part of the time that Ramirez was there was a lot of reform going on. And while prison reform is very important, I just meant boring in terms of storytelling, right? So I cut a lot of that out that I was writing about, because there was stuff like the art classes that they were taking. I'm like, it's interesting. It's just not exciting. It's just not what I was. It normalized the place a little bit too much with the distinction between the hell of San Quentin and the paradise that Dante was about to discover.
Yes, that was an interesting. The word I'm looking for that I'm not finding. Interesting, juxtaposition, comparison.
Yeah.
I did like when you talked about Johnny Cash. This and him singing and his voice reverberating, and then you said, "Echoed the reality of prison life to a world that rarely saw it clearly."
Yeah.
Which I do think is like, if I could say that I am close with somebody who spent some time in prison, and every time we watch something, a movie, a documentary, even like anything, he's like, this is not an accurate depiction. I mean, and obviously he was in one prison and there's a billion prisons, but he's like, that would never happen. Like they would never allow that to that's not happening in a real and I just think if you've never been to prison for any length of time, it's because as many stories as I've heard or as many things as he's told me, I can never imagine what it would feel like to be in prison for like a long time.
No way.
Like at all. I can't.
I used to have nightmares about it. I don't know why.
Oh, because, well, you're claustrophobic and you can't get out.
Yeah. I have nightmares about being wrongfully imprisoned.
Oh my gosh. I mean, and
when everyone thinks I'm guilty and I'm the only one who knows I'm not. Yeah.
Oh, that is a nightmare. That's a bad
I
one.
Wonder what that means.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to look that up for you. I'll only tell you if it's good.
Okay.
And then I thought it was also interesting that 400, so from 1893 until 2006, 422 prisoners were killed, which I was like, well, that isn't that much. But then I did the math. It's like 4 people a year.
Mm-hmm. Every 3 months.
Yeah. That's kind of, that seems like a lot to me, actually.
Yeah. That's a pretty good clip. Yeah.
Yeah. That's impressive. Impressive, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I did see a comment. We must have talked about the death penalty on a recent episode, and I saw some comment where somebody was like, how dare you think that the death penalty is good?
Oh my gosh. I saw that too.
Like,
I know.
It's just my opinion. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's terrible and maybe I'm wrong, but that's just what I think. And if somebody killed somebody who was close to me, I don't know. I mean, I'd want them to rot in prison for a while and then get the death penalty.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there we go. Let's see. What else do I have here? Well, let's just jump right into what I know you want to talk about, which is Dante.
No, I'll talk about Ramirez for a minute.
Well, I have more. I mean, we have more of him at the end because
we do have more of him at the end. Just knowing that I liked introducing San Quentin as the place that he would call home forever, and I was interested in its history and some of the prisoners that went through there, and how and why and when it was built. And so I hope you found it interesting.
I did find it interesting.
Okay,
I
cool.
think I did a good job, and it was like just the right amount of history on it, probably.
Great. Okay, cool.
So Dante, I listened to this several times, and maybe the third or fourth time I listened to this was this morning again, as I was driving to go walk this lady's dog. And it's like this very beautiful, like windy through the mountains. And it was early this morning. I was listening to this and it was all very like lovely. Felt nice. So journeys not through geography at all. Voyages not through place, but through perception. Like a road trip, but for your brain.
A voyage through perception. It's that was an idea that was explored there that we're not, you're really investigating how you perceive something to be, okay? To the point where you can immerse yourself in it and go through it and really understand yourself and understand really the nature of what the honest kind of nature of what you're experiencing. Okay. And not only what you're seeing, what you're feeling, what you're emotionally, how it sounds and how it smells and what it looks like and everything just being so powerfully presented to you. So that's what that's what I understand Beatrice was providing for Dante as his guide. Right.
I came up with a name for her, his cosmic compass.
Oh, wow. Because listen, she wasn't nice. She wasn't like I love you and let's go do this together. No, she was testing
Right.
him like the whole
Right.
time.
Her gaze unblinking.
Unblinking. Yes.
Yeah, she's wisdom transfigured.
Mm.
This is really interesting. I haven't questioned, but this is really interesting. Her beauty dazzles not in sensuality, but in its certainty, in the way light bends around her like revelation. And so I was like, okay, her beauty lies in her certainty.
Her certainty.
So I was thinking, like, how does that translate or pertain to like beauty standards today? Not at all, I guess, probably. Like, how much of our perception of beauty today depends on.
Oh man, so much. It's different. I don't think it's something that is in the physical realm. I think it's something that's reserved for the artistic realm. Okay, like when someone like Botticelli would paint the Birth of Venus, right? Venus represented in that her beauty was not up for debate. Okay, it wasn't a matter of opinion. There was a certainty about it. And now 500 years later, we can look at it and what it means to be. I mean, shit, in the last 50 years, it's changed. The ultimate female form, the ultimate male form has kind of changed. But there are these epochs in our understanding of beauty, generally represented by an artist's interpretation of the time, where we see. All right, one thing that is unchanging, all right, is Michelangelo's David. David's beauty is a certainty for all time. It is technically a perfect sculpture. It is anatomically a perfect sculpture. And I don't think that no one's ever looked at it and gone, oof, man, swing and a miss, Mikey, swing and a miss. No, right? Like it's that is beauty that is powerful in its certainty, like right there, you know?
Yeah.
And the way that light bends around her, like revelation, you know, I mean, it makes me think of like, you know, Einstein with his theories of relativity, that light would bend around a large object in the universe. And it wasn't proven until years after he died, but he got the math right. And it's true. That's what happens. Light bends around these massive, you know, objects. And what's bigger in our meager human sensibilities than witnessing a revelation, if any of us ever even have, right? So, right, you know, so that's, it's just how important you can't overestimate how important Beatrice was to Dante in his life. A woman he barely knew.
I know.
Barely knew. Died at 24 years old, Beatrice. Yeah.
Okay, how do you picture, so all of these spheres, because I'm like a real, like, I need to see everything in my head like a movie, whether I'm reading it or listening to it, you know, I see it like playing out in my head, whether it's right or wrong, how it's playing out in my head. That's how I comprehend things. So I want to know, like, how, before I say how I saw this, like, how do you see this? Like, if you closed your eyes and you're listening to yourself talk about these different spheres, what does it look like?
Okay, I could be, and this is something that I've thought about quite a bit, and I could be totally wrong about it, but I think the spheres mean you're not in orbit around them, that you're in them.
Okay.
You go into it, like the moon, the lowest sphere of the moon, because a sphere is like a basketball. It's like a globe. It's not like it's hollow, right?
It's flat. It's 3D. Is a sphere.
It's 3D. It's not a solid. It's not like a marble. It's not solid, right? It looks like the moon, but in Dante's vision of paradise, it's something that you cross through and go into. So when you're in that sphere, everything is just is encapsulated like within that. Yeah.
Okay.
That's my vision of it. Yeah.
So that's not okay. So mine is slightly different, but still not. But like, so I pictured like literally the, you know how you see like the solar system?
Yeah, sure.
Like circle, like then each planet is on a different like.
Yeah, one's an orange, one's a styrofoam ball, one's a golf ball. Yeah.
And so I picture them going like, you know, stepping from like this most outer one, and then when they step in between them, then it's like, then you're in that sphere essentially, and you're seeing all the things or feeling or hearing or everything. And then you step to the next one. And and that's just how my brain was picturing it. I didn't really think about it at all. But then when I did think about it, I was like, oh, that's stupid. That's not how it's supposed to be.
I picture it the same way, but they're like they're floating because it's ascend. They're not floating. They're floating up through the through the heavens, through space.
Right. Okay. Okay. So then I'm not that ridiculous.
Right. From planet to planet. Yeah.
Okay. So I thought this was really interesting. I mean, you know, I had to give each of these spheres like my own take on it. Like the moon sphere is like curveballs that you get in life.
Not your fault.
That are not your fault. Yes. Those vows were broken not by their own will, but by the force of circumstance. So like, you know, things could go incorrectly, but you can still be here in paradise. Sure.
Absolutely.
So now I have a question for you. What is like an unexpected setback that ended up being better?
Well, what happened to both of us a couple of years ago with our own company? You know, it was hard to see the end when we were in it. You know, wasn't our fault at all. No. You know, nothing that we did wrong. Yeah, nothing at all that we did. We were good. We did great work. Right? We were honest. We showed up every day. We did more than we were expected. We stayed later than we had to. Like all of that, still through no fault of our own, it didn't work out. You know, and it's been, gosh, 2.5 years now.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I can't believe
you know.
That one.
Yeah. And through a lot of trouble and a lot of blood and treasure on my part, you know, I was able to turn things around, and it's definitely, I'm in a better situation now, you know? So
yeah, that's true. You are in a better situation. I don't know if I'm in a better situation.
I think you're in a better situation just because you're not surrounded by some of those people anymore.
That's true. That's a fair way to look at it. Okay.
Yeah.
Good answer. Okay. So then Mercury, which is like people who were doing lawful things for like the right reasons.
Yes.
Not that's in power right now in our life. And then did any of these spheres, were you like, oh, this one is so meaningful to me?
There was one line when I think he said ambition can be virtuous when it's yoked to justice. Right. Right. And that really got me, because a lot of times ambition is looked at as not really as a sin, but as, especially in Hollywood.
That's right. We talked about this. You said in Hollywood, and I can see that.
Like it's a pejorative when someone says, hey, so tell me about this person, potentially a new hire. Well, they're really ambitious. That means they're going to fuck you first chance they get. Okay.
Right.
And so what that line, and it might not be ambition yoked to justice, but I think it was. That means that it can be a wonderfully divine thing if you're ambitious because you want to serve something just. Then it's okay, and then you wind up in the second sphere of heaven. You know, so that
ambition with integrity.
Yeah,
with some type of integrity in your ambition.
I also like the one, because there are two that are similar. One is like elected officials that are doing good things. Right. And there's one a little bit further on for like kings and emperors who saw the crown not as
Jupiter's sphere, merciful power.
Right. That they saw it as responsibility, not as power. You know,
right.
Seeing your power as responsibility, that's an important one, especially today with world leaders that we see that feel, or at least they act as if they really aren't acting out of a responsibility for as many people as possible.
No.
Yeah.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
I liked the Venus sphere, the pure love or elevated love, or lovers whose affection was turned outward, transforming personal love into cosmic love.
Cosmic love.
Like that somebody's love would make you is this what this is, that somebody's love would make you want to, like, that it's so powerful that you want to help other people too.
Yeah. I want to share all of this because I feel so empowered. I'm going to go do all of this stuff for other people. Yeah. I also liked the sphere of the contemplatives where there's no music. It's just the people who,
Just the silence one?
Just silence. Yeah. That people that turned inward, not to get away from society, but to really sit down and consider the divine as best that they could. Yeah.
No music, no pageantry, only silence.
Yes.
When's the last time you sat in total silence without your phone, anybody?
You know what? None of your business. Shut up. That's when. Okay. Sorry. I was quiet for maybe 5 minutes in the sauna yesterday. The rest of the time, because my phone died. The rest of the time I was listening to a podcast. But yeah. I need 5 minutes silence.
I've stopped listening to things when I walk the dogs in the morning now at like 5 a.m. because it's just like, so, I don't know, lovely. Like, no, I mean, there's birds and shit, but like, there's no, I'm not talking, I'm not listening to music, I'm not listening to podcasts. I'm just, sometimes I talk to the dogs, I guess, but just silent. That's about as silent as I think it gets.
I got to find this video for you. It's a guy saying people who are up at 5:30 are going through some shit. and then he goes, not necessarily bad, but they're going through some shit. Like they're building something, or they're, like working towards something, or they're working to get over something, or they're working through something. Yeah. You want to stay out of their way.
I mean, I'll be honest, now that I have been I've been waking up at 5:30 for a long time, for a little bit over the winter, it doesn't get light. It wasn't getting light here until 6:37. But now if I wake up and the sun is fully up, I hate it. It's like a terrible start to the day. I really in the
dark.
Up. Yeah. I like to just, it's just becoming light. And then I'm like, okay, it's time to get up. I don't know.
All right. That's weird. Good for you.
I know. I guess. I'm also in bed at 8 o'clock most nights. So I'm 75 years old.
Okay. Good for you.
Let's see. So the sun sphere, the theologians and philosophers, it's like what? Like science geeks and religious geeks or brainiacs?
The theologians, the philosophers, like St. Thomas Aquinas, the people who made their life's work to interpret the Bible and make it accessible to the illiterate, or accessible to the people who maybe don't understand Revelation or whatever. It's right. They're like, their mission was to study and understand the divine and become teachers.
Okay. Reconciling reason with faith. Okay. That makes sense.
The Jesuits.
Okay. Mars spheres, martyrs and defenders of truth, suffering transfigured into glory.
Yeah, the warriors. Not the crusaders. Not people who would force people to their religion at the edge of a blade, but people who would die defending a church, or die defending a priest, or die defending someone weaker than them, or those warriors who did it the right way.
Okay, that makes sense to me now. Yeah. I found this quote about the Jupiter sphere, the power one that you said you like, merciful power. Yeah. Power, right, looks like compassion wearing a crown. I didn't really understand that quote. And then this one, the fixed stars, the soul exam, or like a virtue check. Is that what that is? St. Peter, St. James, and St. John test him, not with doctrine, but with understanding.
Sure, exactly.
So when you're going through something or having a hard time or having to figure something out, which virtue do you lean on the most? Faith, hope, or love?
Love.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you're not religious. And oh my God, is that McEnroe?
No, that was my daughter opening the door to say hi.
Oh, I was gonna say I haven't asked about McEnroe in a while.
Mac's doing great.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So love is because it's the easiest to identify for me. Faith, I don't know. Hope, and I feel like, oh gosh, I hope that that's also kind of not really. No, it's just not active enough, right? It's like I could hope laying in bed all day. I'd rather get out and be proactive,
That's true.
Love is something that I know when I see it. I know when I feel it. I know when I don't feel it. Right. So that's what I rely on the most.
Okay. And how do you say this sphere? The Empyrean. Yes. So here is no sphere, no motion, only pure light.
Pure light.
The Holy Trinity. That's hard. That's a hard one for I feel like I need to really get into Dante and read this because
it's less Dante and it's more understanding Roman Catholicism with the Holy Trinity and with the Empyrean and because that's the holiest of holies. That's the inner sanctum. That's actual heaven. Like that's where he's about to meet the Virgin Mary, who's the most exalted creature ever after Jesus. Right. So that's where that's the end and the beginning, and that's everything, right? And when he sees the Holy Trinity and his intellect becomes overwhelmed,
right?
That's maybe almost you could accuse Dante of lazy writing because he's like, I'm not even going to try to explain it because the human mind can't comprehend it. So all he says is that his intellect became overwhelmed when he first glimpsed the Holy Trinity, which he describes as three kind of circles of light, but at the same time, what he writes doesn't even, but it's not supposed to because your intellect becomes overwhelmed when you're face to face with the creator of all things, okay? With the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, which is all one. It's God made flesh. It's God, the Father, it's God the Son, it's God the Spirit. I mean, it's really confusing just in terms of Catholic dogma, right? So that's one of the big arguments against Christianity in general, okay, is that, okay, so hold on a second. So God's the Father, God's also the Son, Jesus. So God sacrificed himself to himself because he didn't like what he created in the first place because he created us in sin. So it's a real stretch to intellectualize all of that and be like, oh yeah, that totally makes sense. I'm down. Okay. Yeah, great. So it's better to really enjoy and understand and let Dante kind of flow over you. It's best to not try and investigate the mysteries of the Church of Rome. So, yeah.
I see somebody behind you. Okay, all good.
She was actually asking me why I hadn't done the dishes yet.
Wow.
I said, go do them your damn self. Okay. Are you really interrupting me working? To tell me that the pot you want to use is dirty? Clean it. Okay. I want to explode right now, but okay. Kids, teenagers. Woo! All right. Anyway.
That's a relatable moment right there.
Yeah, I know. So experience, Dante's kind of rapture here instead of trying to figure out the Holy Trinity because it's tough.
Okay.
It's tough.
And then he wakes up. He awakens.
Yep.
Forever changed.
Yep.
So
Beatrice remains for all of us.
So sorry, I wrote down these questions last week, so I'm remembering. Okay, so with the whole Trinity thing, Holy Trinity you were just talking about, are there any mysteries in your life like that you accept this, but you don't fully understand it?
Ooh. Huh. That's a big question. I don't even know where to start with that. Damn it.
Good. That was the goal.
Huh.
To stump you.
Are there mysteries in my life? Gosh, there have to be.
Right? That you accept without fully understanding. I feel like that there are. I couldn't tell you that
there have to be, but like little things, like how come my jeans fit as well, like a day that I want to wear them, like, is it me? Is the denim stretching a little bit, whatever. There's that. Or why I'm a different size in different brands. I mean, different styles of the same brand. Like in Adidas Gazelles, I'm a 9.5. In the SL72s, I'm a 10. Like, why? Like, I don't understand that. Why isn't there consistency in the brand?
I think Dante would be very impressed with this answer.
So there's that. Then there's stuff like with my animals. Like, what's my cat thinking? Is my cat happy?
Yeah.
Maybe. Why are dogs and cats' lives so short compared to ours?
Why?
Right? I know.
Hey, why did I start feeding these rats in my backyard? And now I've created a huge issue for myself. This is the question that I don't understand. 2 of them died the other day in the baby pool. And
wow, you probably took that hard.
I was a disaster.
Yeah.
I was so fucking upset. I was like, I called Mark. I was like, I'm a murderer. I feed them and I keep them in the yard, and then
I can't keep them safe.
Oh yeah, he had to come over and like take care of it, and like now I'm like, no more baby pool in the backyard. We're only giving them water in dishes that are this big.
Oh, jeez.
Why do I care? Why can't I not care? Do you know how many people don't care about animals at all? They saw a rat, they'd be like, ew, kill it, get it away from me. I wish I could feel that way. Anyways.
And the big one, why did bad things happen to good people?
Yeah. That's true.
It's a big one.
But
I know the answer. Life's random. It's a hellish abyss, that, we're all, just blindly running towards the darkness. Okay.
Oh, good. Well, thanks for that.
It's true.
Tuesday afternoon.
Death isn't anything to fear.
Goodness.
It's not.
It's not.
We all end up in the same place, right?
No. You know what? No, I won't go there.
Okay.
So Dante had Beatrice.
Yeah.
Divine wisdom guiding him, eternal truth. And Ramirez had Doreen.
Yes. You believe he got married?
A magazine editor. It was this was some interesting, like, kind of symmetry to look at them if you look at them like that.
Right.
And is Doreen still alive today? Do you know?
Yeah.
She is.
So the difference between the two is, Dante wound up in heaven, but without Beatrice. Ramirez wound up in hell, but with his wife, Yeah.
Do you think that prison was hell for him?
Yep, I do.
Okay.
I do think prison was hell for him, because this is a hot take. It's a hot take.
Okay.
Because I think he had years and years and years of clear-headed sobriety, where he was able to put the crazy away, and he just went, oh shit, look what I did. And he had to live with it.
Really? Yeah. That is a hot take, actually.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Okay.
I think when the cameras went away and all the theatrics were over and he was sitting there and all he was a serial killer. Okay. And he didn't have, the coke binges, and he didn't have, the hypersexuality kind of cravings and ragings and the anger and all of that unchecked, where he's just sitting in a 6x9 cell on death row, in view of the death chamber, right? For his entire adult life. Yeah.
Yeah. So he was on. So if you're on death row, are you not like out and about in the yard with people?
No.
Like you're just in your cell for 23 hours a day.
Yeah. Yep. 23 hours a day.
That's torture. It makes me feel uncomfortable and panicked thinking about that.
Yeah.
Like I think, if you get to go in the yard and I don't know, you meet people, you talk, you work out, you develop a life in prison. It's not a good life, but it's something,
right?
Something.
Yeah. Nope. You're in a cage.
Yeah, it makes me like kind of nauseous to think about. I can't even understand how to come to terms with that. This is very, very dark, but I completely understand why people kill themselves on death row.
Wow.
I mean, I couldn't live like that. You're alone. It's no way to live. I mean, it's not. It's death slowly.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think he was very, very aware, and that he was suffering, and I fucking hope he was just suffering the whole time.
How could you not be?
Yep.
How could you not be in that type of situation? And so, what's up with Doreen? Like, is she just lunatic? We think, or
no? I think she got caught up in the media circus as well. She was like a groupie who finally got to not only bang the drummer, but got to marry him. And then after a few years, she's like, he's just kind of a weird dude. I'm done. Yeah. Like she writing letters and, was kind of famous for it. And the media covered her wedding and all, and I think she enjoyed her 15 minutes. And then again, when the cameras went away and the interest died down and he was just a fucking brutal serial killer.
Right.
No one gave a shit anymore. And they very quietly divorced. And she probably went, what the fuck was I thinking?
I mean, there has got to be something wrong with somebody who because I would love to just know more about someone's brain like that you could just somehow believe that she really believed that there was like a nice, kind human behind all of that.
Maybe there was. I don't know. Maybe there was. Maybe she actually believed that he was innocent. Maybe she believed his bullshit, and maybe it was a bit of Stockholm syndrome mixed with hybristophilia, dash of I'm a lunatic,
That sounds right.
But yeah, but either way, I think the evidence is there that she eventually woke up, came to her senses and got out of there.
I think that it's also, you said that it's an affront to the memories of their loved ones for like the people who love, and I totally agree with that. Like he shouldn't be allowed to fuck married and have sex and stuff. Fuck that.
Listen, I know there's no law against it, but there should be maybe.
Do you think that he actually felt connected to her? Or do you think that this was just more of his bullshit?
I think he did feel connected. I think because he was desperate for connection.
Yeah.
Because by then he's 7 years in that little cell, and I'm sure getting the letters was like a lifeline to him, connection, and then getting to see her and having human contact that isn't a prison guard who's telling you lights out, or the guy who brings you your food, or the weird guy you shower next to, you know what I mean? Yeah.
I wonder if there's more of this now, like with social media and cell phones in jail, there's a whole like jail talk or prison talk or something on TikTok where it's like prisoners get cell phones and make TikToks and you can they're on TikTok, the whole section of it. And so I wonder, there's got to be more people who are more into this now.
Yeah. Yeah. I bet there probably are. Yeah, there probably are.
I
know that.
Okay. Oh yeah. Prison talk. So I'm trying to decide. Well, first of all, he died of B-cell lymphoma.
Yeah, executioner didn't get him. That pissed a lot of people off.
I was gonna say, you think that's justice or no?
No, I don't think that's justice. Unless it was drawn out and really painful.
I was going to say, it's probably more painful than just being shot or hanged.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's
Maybe.
true. But, I would have liked to have been, a state-sponsored execution. I would have loved, and again, I'm going to get killed for this, but I think it would have been a little bit more, there would have been more justice if the state killed, if he was killed by the state that he terrorized.
Out of his hands, if they like purposefully did it.
Yeah, if they did it, because the state that he victimized
right
wins, right? Like, we win. Fuck you.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
That's what I would like to see, because his guilt it wasn't in question. It's not like there was a chance they were going to be killing the wrong dude. But listen, I appreciate the laws of our country. It's the best place to live. I believe that. And so I accept what happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
I accept it as well.
There we go.
So that's done. This is done. I feel like sad to leave Dante behind.
I am too.
I won't. Maybe I'll go read Dante.
Yeah.
So that commenter who said she's never even read it before.
You got to let that one go, Margot. It's okay. It's okay.
So what was your favorite part of this whole entire season and all the things that you wrote and researched and put out there? What was the most favorite or fascinating or what?
Honestly, my favorite part is just one line. It's at the top of Mount Purgatorio, right? Because I go from the sadness of Virgil having to go back to limbo, that after all that, a commenter wrote, I wish Virgil had earned his wings and there was a way that he was able to get into heaven. It makes me sad. I'm like, you're right. I couldn't agree more. But then you go from that sadness, and then he turns and he sees Beatrice.
Aww.
And he sees her and he says, you were the light of my youth. And that's my favorite moment in this podcast series. That's my favorite moment in the book. That's my favorite moment. One of my favorite moments in literature is when he sees her.
Romantic.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
I love that part. That's how he knows that he's in the right place and that he's gonna be okay because she's there. So, yeah.
That's very sweet. I feel like that probably has something to do with your wife as well. Maybe. Perhaps.
Maybe
somebody else from your youth that we're unaware of.
Maybe. Also maybe. Yes.
Well, this was I really enjoyed doing this.
So, and I loved having you. I love that you agreed to do these bonus episodes with me. I can't thank you enough. It's been great.
So fun. I'm very sad to see it go, but I will wait for the next limited series that you do and connect it to some other literature I haven't read.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Maybe we'll see. Yeah, it's a good idea. Maybe we'll do it again. We'll see.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, hold on. In the meantime, if you enjoyed the episode, please consider sharing it and let people know about the season. If you like the season, it's available to binge as of right now. And we're back to the weekly episodes. If you have any ideas, topics you might like me to cover, please put it in the comments on Apple or on Spotify, and I will make sure I get to it. Margot, what's coming up on Death by Southwest? Which, if you're not following people, you need to be.
Just more, more murders in the Southwest.
All right. Have you done any of the like Northeast or Southeast or Northwest yet? Have you done any of that?
I've done a few of those. I'm going to do one that starts in LA or starts in Northern California, and they're boating to Hawaii, and something happens on the way. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Well, that sounds exciting. All right, I'll make sure to check it out. In the meantime, everybody, I really appreciate the listen. I appreciate you hanging in there for the whole season, and I'll see you in the weekly episodes. So until next time, stay safe out there. Thank you. The Devil Within is an EVO production, recorded live at Bel Air Studios in Los Angeles, California. For The Devil Within,
I'm your host, Branden Morgan.